I went on a solo trip to feel free. But when I returned, my marriage didn't exist anymore. I stood at the front door, suitcase in hand, still tan from Bali's sun. My heart fluttering with anticipation, and something else I couldn't name. The driveway was empty. No sign of Derek's car. That was strange. He always parked in the same spot parallel to the porch. Even if we were fighting, he never slept anywhere else. I brushed it off. Maybe he ran to the store. Maybe he was trying to surprise me. I crouched down to lift the flower pot where we always hid the spare key. It wasn't there. My chest tightened. Still, I told myself not to panic. I hadn't spoken to him in nearly weeks. This could mean anything. I rang the bell, waited, no answer. After I was standing there, gripping the handle of my suitcase like it could anchor me, I sat down on the steps. My throat felt dry. It wasn't supposed to be like this. It was just supposed to be a break, just some space. I needed air. I needed quiet. I needed to feel like a persona again, not just someone's wife. That's what I told myself when I booked the ticket. That's what I told myself when I blocked Derek.phone, WhatsApp, Instagram, even email. I didn't want to deal with guilt or explanations or the pull of his kindness while I tried to figure things out. He just wanted to breathe. I know how that sounds. I know how it probably looked, Toheem. But in my head, it wasn't a breakup. It wasn't a punishment. It was a pause, something temporary, something we'd laugh about later, maybe even thank each other. For our marriage wasn't bad, just numb, stale. He was always working, always available, always there. And somehow that made him invisible. My friends had said, "You're young, you're still beautiful. Take a trip, clear your head." And I did. For days, I didn't think about responsibilities or schedules. I wandered through rice fields, danced barefoot on a beach, and let men look at me like I wasn't already taken. But now the house was dark. The porch was lifeless, and the man I thought would be waiting with open arms wasn't here. A flicker of panic bloomed inside me, but I shoved it down. No, he's probably just upset. I'll talk to him. I'll explain. Maybe we needed that space. Maybe this is the part where we reconnect stronger. I didn't know it then, but that space I carved. Out between us was just wide enough for him to walk away. And once he did, he didn't look back. Derek and I had been married for years. Not a perfect 6, but comfortable, predictable, steady, too steady. He was the kind of man who made breakfast every Sunday, eggs over medium. It's just how I liked them. The kind of man who texted, "Let me know when you get there," every time I left the house. Who never raised his voice, never forgot our anniversary, never missed a birthday. Not even my mom's. And somehow I grew tired of all of it. I started resenting how available he was, how he never challenged me, how he'd just smile and say, "Whatever you want, babe," even when I wanted him to fight me, disagree with me, feel something. The truth is, Derek was everything I said I wanted, till he wasn't. I didn't notice how deep the cracks had gotten until I started fantasizing about freedom. Not about cheating or leaving, just breathing, being somewhere he wasn't. At first, I thought it was normal. All couples get bored, right? But then I started talking to friends, the wrong ones in hindsight. One said, "You've never really had a you phase. You went straight from college to married life." Other chimed in, "He's too sweet. That's why you're restless. Maybe you need to stir things up." Someone else whispered what I wanted to hear. "Go somewhere alone just for you. Find your spark again." And so I did. I booked the trip to Bali, a solo vacation under the cute excuse offer connecting with myself. I told Derek I needed space to clear my head. He dedarged. He just looked sad. The night before my flight, he hugged me tighter than usual, said, "I'll be right here when you're ready." And that's exactly why I blocked him the next morning. Not because I hated him, but because I couldn't bear to see the texts. The "I miss us," the guilt. I wanted peace, not pressure. I blocked his number, then his WhatsApp, then Instagram. I even muted his email. As I sat at the airport lounge sipping a mimosa, I stared at our last thread of messages. The final one from him read, "Are we okay? I'll wait. Just please don't shut out." I hovered my thumb over it and deleted it. Not because it meant nothing, but because it meant too much. I convinced myself it was temporary. That I'd come back refreshed and we'd laugh about how dramatic I was. But in doing that, I didn't just shut him out. I slammed the door on someone who would have waited forever if I had just left it open. Bali was beautiful. Too beautiful. Almost like the kind of place that convinces you life is better without responsibility. For the first few days, I let myself believe it. I danced barefoot under string lights with strangers. I didn't care to remember. I drank sweet, overpriced cocktails while the ocean whispered against the shore. I flirted with a tanned, accented bartender. Made me feel like I was again before marriage, before routine. I felt alive, desired, untethered for a while. But around day 4, something shifted. The sun still glowed, the drink still flowed, but suddenly everything felt hollow. I started waking up with a knot in my stomach. Little things began to haunt. I saw a couple holding hands on the beach. I thought of Derek's fingers absent-mindedly tracing mine while we watched Netflix. I smelled grilled fish at a night market and remembered the first time he tried to cook for me and nearly burned. The kitchen down. At night, I dreamed about him. Not the boring, quiet version I'd grown tired of, but him. The man who held my hair when I was sick, who sang badly in the car just to make me laugh, who cried when I said I do. I missed him, but I was too proud to admit it. Then on day 5, I got a message from a friend back home. Just one sentence. "Did Derek post something weird? Sprotherus, saying he's done." My chest went tight. I scrambled to open his Instagram. Blocked. I went to WhatsApp. Blocked. Texts. Email. Blocked. My stomach dropped. That's not like him, I whispered out loud, phone shaking in my hand. Derek wasn't the type to shut people out. He was the one who stayed, who waited, who always left door cracked open. And now it was slammed shut. Panic surged in waves. He tried logging into a burner account. I Googled his name. I even messaged his brother, who didn't respond. For the first time in days, I realized what I had done. Not just to him, to us. I de-blocked the man I married so I wouldn't have to feel guilty for needing a break. And now he was gone. I spent the rest of that day walking the beach alone, watching couples laugh and kiss and argue. I would have given anything to be arguing with him in that moment. To hear him say, "Why did you shut me out?" So I could say, "I didn't mean to. I just didn't know how to ask for more without pushing you away." But it was too late. I thought I was breaking free. But I was breaking us. The first thing I noticed when I stepped inside was the silence. Not the peaceful kind. The kind that presses in on your chest and makes the walls feel too wide. The living room looked the same. The couch where we used to cuddle still had the dent from his side. The blanket he always used was gone. I dropped my suitcase and rushed. To the bedroom. That's when I knew. Height of the closet was half empty. No jackets, no shoes, no watch box on the dresser. The cologne he always wore, gone. There was no note, no voicemail, no explanation, just absence. I sat on the edge of the bed, trembling, and dialed his brother's number. He answered after one ring. "Oh, you're back." "Where is he?" I asked. There was a pause. Then his voice turned cold. "He waited for you for years." This broke him. "What do you mean?" "Where is he?" "He quit his job. Packed up, left town 2 days ago. Didn't say where he was going, just said he needed to start over." I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but I couldn't, because I had none to give either. After we hung up, I sat there for hours staring at nothing until a notification lit up my screen. Someone had tagged Derek in a photo. My hands moved before my mind caught up. It was a woman's page. Travel blogger or something. The caption read, "Helping beautiful souls find peace again." Hashtag healing retreat. And there he was, Derek smiling next to her. Some cliffside coastal place with sunlight painting his face. His arms were folded across his chest, his eyes crinkling at the corners. Free like he hadn't looked in years. My stomach twisted. Was he already seeing someone? Had he replaced me that easily? Or had I just left the door so wide open? Someone else walked in. I didn't cry. Not yet. Instead, I opened our shared bank account. It hadn't even crossed Mimond since I landed. I blinked at the screen. The full balance was still there. In fact, he transferred his portion into my name. Every cent. He didn't take a dime. I felt something crack inside me. And then the next day, I got the envelope. No return address, just my name in Derek's handwriting. Inside was a note. Not angry, not bitter. Just final, no accusations, no insults, no. Plea to come back. It wasn't closure, it was a goodbye. And somehow, that made it hurt even more, because anger mean steers still fire. But this was the cold ashes of something I thought could still be saved. The letter Washert, just 2 pages, written in blue ink on thick paper that smelled faintly like cedar. His handwriting hadn't changed. Still neat, still careful like him. I unfolded the first page with trembling hands, eyes scanning so fast I had to force myself to slow down to really read it. Hey, I waited. Even while you were away, I waited. I checked my phone constantly, hoping you'd unblock me, that you'd say you missed me, that you needed me. But you DIDN single quotes, T, and eventually I stopped hoping. Honest, not dramatic, which made it hurt more. I realized something while you were gone. You weren't just on vacation, you were already leaving long before you packed your bags. I just didn't want to see it. I blinked through tears as I kept reading. The night you left, I had a panic attack. Couldn't breathe, couldn't sleep, couldn't eat for days. I checked myself into a silent retreat days later. No phones, no internet, just people helping me find whatever was left of me. That woman in the photo, you probably saw it by now, was my therapist. She's not someone I'm seeing. She's someone who helped me remember I'm not worthless. That line shattered me. You didn't just block me. You erased me. And for the first time in our marriage, I believed you didn't want me. Not even a little. I pressed the letter to my chest as if holding it there could undo what I'd done. I'm moving to Spain next month. No big reason. Just always wanted to see it. I've taken a new job, sold. The rest of my stuff? I didn't take our money because I don't want to owe you anything or feel owed. No hard feelings. I loved you. Maybe I still do in some quiet corner of me, but I love myself more now. Just please don't do this to the next person who loves you. That was the last line. No signature, just white space. I sat there at the kitchen table for hours, rereading it over and over, hoping maybe I misread something, that he'd left a postscript, a door open, but he hadn't. This wasn't a fight. This wasn't a threat. It was peace. It's the kind that comes only when someone has finally given up trying to be loved by you. And I wasn't prepared. Not for the silence, not for the stillness, not for the reality that I had finally gotten what I wanted, space, but the cost was him. I'm back in our apartment, though. I guess now it's just mine. The rooms feel colder, emptier. The framed photos on the wall still show our smiles from better days. But they don't speak anymore. They just watch me. Silent reminders of what I let slip through my fingers. I've tried reaching out. One message then. Another, just something simple. Hey, just wondering how you're doing. I miss you. But the message doesn't go through. Not even delivered. He didn't just block me. He disappeared. It's strange. I was the one who said I needed space. I'm the one who shut him out for 2 weeks with no explanation, who ignored his calls while sipping cocktails on a beach. I told myself I was finding myself, but in reality, I was trying to escape everything, even the love that tried so hard to stay. I started therapy a month ago. Journal on the very day. My therapist says the silence I feel now isn't punishment. It's A mirror, a reflection of all the noise I never dealt with. Still, it's Shart. Night, I swear I hear his keys at the door. Even bought his favorite test reel last week. Like muscle memory. My friends keep saying, you'll move on. It wasn't your forever if he gave up so easily. But they didn't see the version of him I blocked. It's the one who waited outside our apartment during a thunderstorm just to bring me soup. The one who tried and then when I vanished finally gave up. He wasn't awake. He was just tired of knocking on a door I welded shut. This week I flew back to Bali alone. Not to escape, not to post thirst traps or prove anything. It's just to sit, to feel. I walked this same shoreline slower this time. It's no music, no distractions, just memories. And before I left, I picked up a stick and rode in the sand. I blocked love to feel free. I never knew freedom could feel like this. The tide washed it away, but the ache stayed.